Number 15, Super Bowl 59. This game technically counts as a Super Bowl, but aura-wise, it barely qualifies as history. Eagles versus Chiefs sounded great on paper, then the game actually happened. Philadelphia jumped out early, kept scoring, and never gave Kansas City a real chance to breathe. By halftime, the tension was already gone. By the fourth quarter, it felt like a preseason blowout with better camera angles. What really kills the aura is what came after. The Eagles have followed up with a very shaky regular season, and the Chiefs weren't even in the playoff race after week 10. Then there's Jalen Hurts. Never has there been a superstar quarterback with a more boring offense. Never has there been a superstar quarterback left off of so many top 10 quarterback lists. This Super Bowl win was supposed to be his arrival, but instead, it highlighted the inconsistency that still defines him. 1 week unstoppable, the next invisible. This Super Bowl didn't crown anyone. It didn't change the league. It just happened, and that's why it sits dead last. Number 14, Super Bowl 53. Patriots versus Rams should have been fireworks. Instead, we got the quietest Super Bowl of the modern era. 13-3 doesn't sound awful until you remember how it felt watching it live. Punt after punt, drive after drive, going nowhere. Sean McVay looked completely outmatched, and the Rams' offense never found a rhythm. The Patriots weren't explosive either. They were methodical, cautious, and conservative. The biggest plays were defensive stops and field position flips. That might impress coaches, but it doesn't build aura. There was no moment where the stadium felt like it might explode. Even the game's defining touchdown landed with a thud. By the time Stephon Gilmore sealed it with an interception, everyone just wanted it to end. This Super Bowl matters historically because it gave Brady another ring, but aura is about emotion, and this game drained it. Low scoring can be tense. This wasn't. It was quiet, controlled, and instantly forgettable. Number 13, Super Bowl 45. This Super Bowl was fine. That's the problem. Packers versus Steelers gave us competent football, solid quarterback play, and a relatively close score. Aaron Rodgers played well and earned his ring. Green Bay led most of the game, Pittsburgh flirted with a comeback, and the final minutes at least required attention. But nothing here shook the sport. There were no iconic moments that replay in your head years later, no legacy swings, no shock. The biggest storyline coming out was basically, Rodgers is really good. That's not aura. This game never felt dangerous. It never felt like chaos might take over. It was two professional teams executing at a reasonable level and then going home. Even the injuries and mistakes didn't create tension, just mild frustration. When a Super Bowl feels like a well-played conference championship instead of a cultural event, it slides down the list. Respectable, clean, and ultimately forgettable. Number 12, Super Bowl 50. This matchup promised drama and delivered a defensive grind. Cam Newton entered as the league's most dominant force, fresh off an MVP season built on swagger and power. Peyton Manning arrived as a shell of his former self, propped up by an all-time defense. The game itself felt slow and suffocating. Von Miller controlled everything. Strip sacks replaced highlights. Carolina never found rhythm, never found confidence, and never felt threatening after the opening quarter. From a football standpoint, it was impressive. From an aura standpoint, it was draining. Watching Cam slowly unravel while refusing to dive on a fumble became the defining image. That moment killed any intimidation this game might have had. Defense deserves credit, but aura needs tension, fear, or transformation. This felt like a coronation for Denver's defense, not a clash of titans. Important historically, yes. Electrifying emotionally, no. Number 11, Super Bowl 55. This Super Bowl looked legendary for about 5 minutes. Brady versus Mahomes. Dynasty versus dynasty. Then the game kicked off and everything collapsed. Kansas City's offensive line disintegrated, and Mahomes spent the night running for his life. Tampa Bay scored early, kept scoring, and never let the Chiefs breathe. By halftime, it felt over. The most memorable image isn't a touchdown or a throw. It's Mahomes launching impossible passes while falling sideways, knowing none of it mattered. That's not aura. That's inevitability. Brady winning another ring at 43 should feel mythic, but the lack of resistance drained the drama. There was no comeback brewing, no tension rising, just domination. Blowouts can have aura when they shock expectations. This one didn't. Once Tampa took control, the game turned into a slow march toward the inevitable. Number 10, Super Bowl 56. Rams versus Bengals felt like a fresh matchup, and for stretches, it delivered intrigue. Joe Burrow had swagger. Matthew Stafford was chasing validation. The game stayed close and came down to the final minutes, which usually helps Aura, but this Super Bowl never felt overwhelming. Injuries dulled momentum, drives stalled, and the pacing felt choppy. When the Rams finally took control late, it wasn't shocking. It was expected. Stafford locking onto Cooper Kupp became predictable instead of terrifying. Aaron Donald's final stop was iconic, but it felt like punctuation, not revelation. This game had stakes, but it didn't shift power in the league emotionally. It ended a drought, crowned a roster, and closed a chapter. Solid football, real tension. But aura requires something that lingers long after the confetti falls. This one faded quickly once the clock hit 0. Number 9, Super Bowl 47. This Super Bowl is remembered for one thing. And it wasn't the football. The power went out. Before that, Baltimore dominated. After that, the entire game changed. The blackout turned a potential blowout into chaos. San Francisco stormed back, suddenly making the game feel alive again. Colin Kaepernick looked dangerous. The Ravens looked shaken. Momentum swung wildly. That helps aura, but it also exposes the flaw. For most of the night, this game wasn't great. It was uneven. The ending gave us tension, but not transcendence. The final goal line stand mattered, yet it didn't feel legendary. The spectacle overshadowed the substance. When a Super Bowl's most famous moment is logistical failure, the aura only goes so far. Memorable, yes, iconic kind of, but not a game that reshaped how fans felt about football itself. Number 8, Super Bowl 58. This was an ugly heavyweight fight that slowly earned its aura. Chiefs versus Niners again, but with different energy. The first half dragged. Mistakes piled up. Neither offense looked smooth. Then the game tightened. Every possession mattered. Field goals felt massive. When overtime arrived, the tension finally peaked. Mahomes getting the ball knowing exactly what needed to happen felt inevitable in the best and worst way. He didn't play perfect football, he played controlled football. That's where the aura came from. Not shock, but resignation. The league knew how this ended. The Niners fought, stalled, and watched it slip away again. This Super Bowl wasn't beautiful, but it was heavy. It mattered. Mahomes cemented something here. Not with fireworks, but with authority. That restraint keeps it from the top tier, but the weight was real. Number 7, Super Bowl 54. This was the night Patrick Mahomes stopped feeling like potential and started feeling inevitable. For most of the game, San Francisco controlled everything. Their defense was fast, physical, and disciplined. Kyle Shanahan had the perfect script. Mahomes looked uncomfortable, threw interceptions, and spent 3 quarters searching for answers. Then the aura flipped. Facing third and long late in the 4th quarter, Mahomes launched a desperate pass to Tyreek Hill that should not have worked. It did. That throw broke the game. From that moment forward, the Chiefs felt unstoppable. Touchdowns came quickly. Confidence flooded back. San Francisco unraveled. This Super Bowl earns aura not because it was chaotic throughout, but because of how violently momentum shifted. It was the birth of something larger. The Chiefs didn't just win, they announced a dynasty. The league felt it immediately. You could sense defenses recalibrating in real time. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a warning. Number 6, Super Bowl 48. If aura can come from shock, this game delivered it instantly. On the very first snap, the ball flew over Peyton Manning's head for a safety, and the Super Bowl was effectively over. What followed was one of the most dominant championship performances in sports history. Seattle dismantled the greatest offense ever assembled without mercy. Interceptions, pick sixes, suffocating coverage, and relentless physicality turned the night into a public execution. Denver looked stunned. Manning looked helpless. The Legion of Boom didn't just win. They erased an entire narrative. This game lacked suspense, but aura doesn't always require drama. Sometimes it comes from disbelief. No one expected this. The scoreboard became surreal. By halftime, the party atmosphere turned funereal. This Super Bowl mattered because it reset how teams thought about defense. It proved intimidation still worked. Even without a comeback or late heroics, the memory of this beatdown still carries weight. Number 5, Super Bowl 57. This game felt like the league's future colliding in real time. Mahomes versus Hurts. Chiefs versus Eagles. From the opening drives, both offenses exploded. Big plays stacked up, touchdowns came easily. Every possession felt important. Jalen Hurts played the best game of his career, throwing and running with confidence even after a brutal fumble. Mahomes, on a bad ankle, responded with calm precision. The tension never dipped. The aura here came from balance. No one dominated, no one disappeared. It was a true heavyweight fight. The controversial holding call late sucked the air out of the ending, but it doesn't erase what came before. For 3 quarters, this Super Bowl felt electric. It showed how thin the margins are at the top, 2 elite quarterbacks trading blows, 2 rosters playing fearless football. Even with the messy finish, the emotional investment was real. This felt like a classic while it was happening. Number 4, Super Bowl 52. This Super Bowl wasn't supposed to be close. The Eagles were playing with a backup quarterback against Tom Brady. Instead, it became chaos. Nick Foles played free, aggressive football, hitting deep shots and converting impossible fourth downs. The Philly special flipped the entire energy of the game. Brady responded with over 500 passing yards, turning the night into a shootout no one expected. Touchdowns traded constantly. There was no defense, just nerve. What gives this game aura is defiance. Philadelphia refused to play scared. Every decision felt bold, every conversion felt personal. When Brandon Graham's strip sacked Brady late, it felt like destiny snapping shut. This wasn't just an upset, it was a release. A franchise unchained itself from history. Fans didn't just celebrate, they exploded. This Super Bowl lives because it broke expectations at every turn and rewarded fearlessness on the biggest stage. Number 3, Super Bowl 49. This game had everything aura demands. Physicality, trash talk, momentum swings. The Patriots and Seahawks felt evenly matched, trading blows in a tense, violent chess match. Marshawn Lynch ran angry. Brady answered methodically. Every drive mattered. By the fourth quarter, the tension was suffocating. When Seattle completed the circus catch at the goal line, the game felt over. Then it happened. The decision, the pass. Malcolm Butler jumping the route and intercepting Russell Wilson at the 1-yard line. In one instant, a dynasty was saved and another was denied. That single play is etched into NFL history forever. It wasn't just a mistake, it was a moment that rewrote legacies. The aura of this Super Bowl comes from disbelief. Everyone watching froze. Silence, then chaos. Few games have ever turned so completely on one snap. This wasn't just a finish, it was mythology. Number 2, Super Bowl 51. For 3 quarters, this looked like a rout. Atlanta dominated. Brady looked finished. The pick six before halftime felt symbolic, an image of the dynasty finally collapsing. Then, history cracked open. What followed wasn't just a comeback. It was a slow, relentless dismantling. Every Patriots drive chipped away at Atlanta's confidence. Every Falcons mistake tightened the vice. The moment the game reached overtime, the ending felt inevitable. The Patriots marched straight down the field and ended it. 28-3 became more than a score. It became a curse. This Super Bowl has massive aura because it broke reality. No one had ever seen this. It redefined what was possible under pressure. Brady didn't just win another ring. He turned despair into inevitability. Even now, the number alone triggers disbelief. This wasn't entertainment. It was trauma for one fan base and immortality for another. Number 1, Super Bowl 46. This game sits alone because it shouldn't exist. 4 years earlier, Eli Manning shocked the undefeated Patriots. This was supposed to be different. Brady was older, smarter, and favored again. The game unfolded slowly, deliberately, like it was waiting for destiny. New England took the lead late. The script felt written. Then Eli got the ball. What happened next defines aura. Under pressure, he stepped up and delivered one of the greatest throws in Super Bowl history. A perfect sideline strike that defied logic. From there, the Giants drained the clock and sealed it. 2 Super Bowls, same villain, same result. That's mythology. Eli didn't dominate, he endured, he survived, and somehow, he beat the greatest quarterback ever twice on the biggest stage. This wasn't about stats or flash, it was about inevitability bending the wrong way. No Super Bowl ending carries more disbelief than this one, and that is why it has the most aura of them all. If you like this video, consider watching this next one, which YouTube thinks you are going to love.